Let's talk 10 minutes about the new Battle Royale Rumbleverse that made an appearance at the Game Awards show. Let's put 10 minutes on the clock and here we go. All right, listen. For those of you who know that have been listening to the podcast for such a long time and know me, I absolutely love Battle Royale. There isn't a Battle Royale that has not been introduced that I haven't played. Granted, I have not yet played Super People, which is more of a clone of PUBG that has a little bit of power-ups and things of that sort in classes. I cannot wait to play that one, but we are here to talk about Rumbleverse that made a trailer appearance at the Game Awards show, and then later on the next day had its own little first look or a little closed beta for a select few of people. A lot of people thought that I got access simply because I'm an influencer. Not true. I simply just signed up and happened to get lucky, but we'll get more to that later. Let's talk about the studio behind Rumbleverse, which is Iron Galaxy Studios. For those of you who don't know who that is basically the main studio behind Dive Kick, which is a simple 2-button fighter, and the great fighter Killer Instinct in terms of its return. So Iron Galaxy Studios has a lot of experience with the fighting game genre, and for them to bring it to the Battle Royale setting gets me really excited. And I've always said this as well. Battle Royales, when everyone comes out, doesn't matter what kind of studio does it, AAA, AA, indie, it always pushes the genre forward. Now, granted, this whole idea of what they like to call Brawler Royale is not new. Nakra is one of the latest ones that came out that has a melee-based type Battle Royale. So melee Battle Royales are not new. However, the genre has been making some progress, has been gaining some steam. And like I said before, anything with the word Battle Royale for it, I am there. And was quite surprised that I was able to get into the first look for Rumbleverse. And I honestly had no idea what it was, despite looking at the game trailer. I mean, it was very vague. I didn't know what kind of nugget it was, what kind of impact it would have in my heart. And so just to give you a little bit of details of it before we get into the real meat and potatoes of the Battle Royale, it's a 40-player Battle Royale. The way the circles change is it cuts off a majority of the map and you shoot your way into via a cannon, and then you free fall all coming from the same side. So there's not like a bus, there's not like a helicopter. Granted, I still have issues with this whole notion of dropping in and getting into whatever position you have. I love the spawn-based Battle Royale. However, this is a different type of Battle Royale because the nugget of it all, the thing that gets me the most excited and that I was quite surprised when I played the first look, is that it's a Battle Royale meets pro wrestling. I will say this again. It is pro wrestling meets Battle Royale. That is the core of this game. So instead of dropping in and finding weapons and things of that sort, you are finding wrestling magazines, pro wrestling magazines, and learning skill sets or move sets so that you can use against your enemy players. And that is amazing. The announcer feels like a Battle Royale. The circle is the ropes. It looks like WWF ropes. And I will say this, I knew I did not make a mistake. Yes, I know it's called WWE, but remember when the WWF days, the red, the white, the blue, those are the ropes, the ring. And then when you're outside the ring, it's a 10-second count out. It's literally a ring out. So this game is pro wrestling to the core, and I absolutely love it. When I talk about Battle Royales like Blood Hunt, it's a thematic Battle Royale. It has a theme surrounded by Vampire Masquerade. So instead of finding a med kit and healing yourself up, bandaging yourself up, you suck the blood of other enemies or other NPC players to regain your health. So in this one, you eat chicken, which it kind of really feels like Rem Royale. More on that later. But the fact that you read ring magazines to be able to get your skill set, and then you go and use that. And not only that, the moves are very, very granted, this is the first look, so I'm assuming it's not a very vast moveset, but I think it will get deeper and deeper. For example, they have this thing called the Stone Cutter, which is literally a kick into the Stone Cold Stunner or RKO. He kind of lays it out, but that literally is the game. They have choke slams, they have spears, they have what else is there? They have sumo fists, they have poison mist, they have Izuna drops. They have so many things that have wrestling references to its core that I cannot begin to see the potential of this game. It is literally a Yomi type game. And for those who don't know, Yomi was been used to me, that's been told when I learned it, was from a Naughty Dog developer, with the thing about you read your opponent and they read you, and you make a choice on what you see and they make a choice on what you see. And before you know it, it's a Yomi game. I can't really explain it anymore. So essentially, it's a rock, paper, scissors type melee system where grapple beats block, beats melee or fighting, strong, whatever way you want to call it. Melee beats grapple. So there's like so many of these rock, paper, scissors, there's wake ups, and there's all these kind of fighting mechanics to this core that it makes every fight be intimate, but at the same time, it can literally break down into extreme chaos, considering that the third party can happen out of nowhere. And we're talking about free for all, we're talking about triple threat, we're talking about no holds bar type beat. And it's so much fun and so much chaotic that I felt like a kid while I was streaming this game. And I felt like a real fan of this game already. Like, it immediately, I understood that it was made by pro wrestling fans. It wasn't a gimmick, pun intended for those wrestling folks out there. It wasn't a gimmick. It was made with this intentional understanding what pro wrestling is, and it fits into the battle royale genre really well. If you had to take a look at it, I would say it really feels like Royale. The way you eat chicken, the way you don't have a down but out system, and granted, you don't turn into a chicken, but instead you get, if you have a super KO, you have the comeback, aka the Hulk. You Hulk up and you come back, and you literally get back on your feet and you have an extra life. So as a solo player, it lasts a little bit longer. And there's so many times where so many comebacks happen, so many cutoffs. So you could talk all wrestling pro talk, but it is really fun and exciting. And what's cool is that when you read those magazines, you have an L1 and R1, and basically your bumpers or whatever, you have two different skill sets that you could assign to. So you drop in and you find those skill sets, and then you kind of build up your character via some potions and powders, legs, stamina, and then you could kind of change the way your power output, and then based on your performance, it gives you a different, like, your drop kits will have a better impact. You have a 10% chance of creating explosives. So there's so much kind of nuance to it that I have not yet able to explore, considering it was only available for a couple of hours and I played it probably like for 4 hours. But I could see the potential in this game. There's a lot of good potential in this game. Now, in terms of the potential it has, it's not going to really go up against the big three. Granted, it is published or distributed by Epic Games. There's an Epic Games logo in it, so meaning it's going to be in the Epic Games Store, and because of that, it's flying under the Epic Games umbrella. I'm assuming it's going to have the ability to have collaborations. More on that later. So the potential in itself, it's not going to go up against the big three, but it will carve out its own nice audience, especially with the pro wrestling fans who've been yearning and aching forever to have access to an awesome pro wrestling game. We're still waiting with the beta breath for the AEW's game, and I cannot wait to hopefully see some great action. However, this Battle Royale does have potential to do so, and especially like I mentioned, because considering that it's under the Epic Games umbrella, the potential to have insane collaborations. And finally, this is where WWE and or AEW could finally collab with a Battle Royale, because it is entirely in its wheelhouse. I've been wanting a WWE collaboration with Fortnite forever, and I've yet to see it. I've yet to see the collaboration that I've been wanting to waste all my money on, but here it is, here and now. Iron Galaxy Studios' Rumbleverse could totally add a WWE collab, and not only just outfits. We're talking about movesets, we're talking about belts, we're talking about arenas, we're talking about maps. Everything. It could go all in and create the spectacle and give wrestling fans the taste what a battle royale can be, because it does get intense. Granted, when I was playing the beta, I was getting hosed and I was getting rough shacked easily, considering that there was Iron Galaxy Studio players actually inside the thing doing that. Like, I was getting destroyed. So here's the thing, and we're gonna go to a little bit extra here. I got a minute left on 10 minutes, but this is worth the game to talk about. Here's the thing that is my real concern about the entire thing. My biggest concern for this game is that there's two things. One, it's melee based, and because of melee based, server is so important. If I don't know if it's possible to have a rollback net code, which is used when there's someone with a poor connection, when you're in a 1v1 fighting, to be able to roll back the net code so that way it is basically in sync for frame. don't know if that's possible with a 40-player battle royale. And considering that there's plenty of times when if I played it and all of a sudden I feel like I'm sucked into out of nowhere by melee game that doesn't feel like it's real. So considering that, you know, the zones are so important, in terms of the melee distance, the grab distance, all that is so important. There were times where I felt like I was sucked into a vacuum and it felt very unfair. So that is going to be the biggest hurdle that this has. Now, I don't know how Nakara is handling ping difference when it comes to melee base. I know it was a problem in what was that game called? For Honor, right? That was such a big problem at first when it was a peer-to-peer connection, but when they went to server base, which I haven't played the game ever since then, but no doubt in theory it will be better. And of course, when the things are relying on servers, so they need to figure that out the most, because when things get a little bit sweaty, I think that is what's going to be able to kind of slow down the fun in the game. So there was times I was just like, oh, this is not cool. But the potential in this game, I feel like outweighs it. I think that what's really exciting in itself, that it is a battle royale and that there's developers out there that are willing to take a chance on the genre and understand that the moment-to-moment action, as I've said in previous podcasts, please check out the Checkpoint 10-minute Checkpoint playlist. It's 10 minutes an episode and you go through the whole slew of things. But yes, the moment-to-moment action of the Rumbleverse game, it's so fun, it's so exciting, and it's just amplified because I'm a pro wrestling fan at heart. I grew up on the product. I grew up on the sport entertainment, whatever you want to call it, and it is so cool. And it's through, like, literally, I was casting it for fun, and it's like, if there wasn't any game that ever on this earth that I should be able to cast, it's this game. It's really fun. It's really exciting. I cannot wait to dive into it. A little bit more comes out in February. I'm hoping that my concerns are not, though they don't show up. This game deserves the love. I'm hoping that people don't throw it underneath the bus, considering it's a battle royale. And I'm hoping that this game gets an audience beyond pro wrestling. I think a battle royale fan will like it. The short matches, the customization itself is really cool. And at the same time, just the uniqueness of it and the look of it, the vibe of it still is very fun and vibrant. And considering that there's no weapons involved, I think that it could be rated a teen for everybody, or everybody to a teen. And the only weapons are just the foreign metal chairs and the hacksaw Jim Duggan board. So I could gush about this game for all in all, but fortunately I have 10 minutes. So thank you so much for checking me out here for the 10-minute Checkpoint podcast. I'm Sancho West. If you want to check out any more episode, please click on another episode. And if you are listening on the podcast service, please drop it a follow and a high rating. If you're listening here on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, and peace. Adios.